There are many Pokemon out there that the majority of players will never use. Some it's due to poor stats, a poor move pool, or lack of a good typing. A few of these have seen renewed appreciation due to an evolution or new form, but these are few and far between. So what happens when you take a Pokemon that has all of these issues and try to beat a game with it? Can you beat Pokemon Violet with only a Delibird? First up, some rules! I can only use Delibird in battle unless I am forced to do otherwise. No glitches and exploits, no items in battle, no trading, and some bonus rules. No Terrastilization, and I want to see if I can beat this at under level 100. Because of the length of this run and the amount of content we have to cover, I'm going to be skimming through a large portion of encounters. Otherwise, this would be a several hour video. So we begin our journey in the usual manner. We pick our name. I chose Chief just for the mild amusement of being called Master Chief. We meet our starters and our rival Nemona. Round now I should address the elephant in the room. We cannot start the game with a Delibird. In fact, we're gonna have to finish pretty much the entire tutorial before we can get one unless we want to trade. We will, however, be getting one before any major encounters in the game. So with that said, we're going to be rushing through the early game until we can get one. I opt to take Quaxley here so that Nemona will take the fire type for some additional challenge later on. We meet the goodest of boy Miraidon, Daddy Issue Incarnate Arven, and the evil team of the game, Team Star, but seeing as this is just a tutorial, they pose no threat. With that, we're given our objectives for the game. Nemona asks us to do the standard Pokemon fare of collecting gym badges. Arven wants our assistance in tracking down some legendary herbs that will hopefully mellow him out of it. And finally, our communication gets hacked into and we are tasked with the secret mission of taking down the Covenant. I mean Team Star. With that, we're set loose in the world, and we walk our way right to the other side of the map to catch ourselves a Delibird and a Ditto in order to get our official starter, meet Boreas. Boreas' ability, Hustle, increases physical damage at the cost of accuracy, and currently his only move is Present, Delibird's signature move. 20% of the time it will heal the opponent for a quarter of their max HP, but the rest of the time, it's a bomb! With that we can begin, or rather we can start EV training. With that all done, we can head towards our first objective. Each gym in this game requires a small challenge to be completed before you can fight the leader. In this case, we have to deal with a small obstacle course involving a giant inflatable olive. Katie here is a bug-type gym leader, but given that we can grab the TM for Air Cutter nearby, her Nimble and Spooder both go down easily. Last up is Erase, a Teddiursa, which we do about 2/3 of its health and she responds with Fury Swipes, a normal type move that hits 2 to 5 times. But luckily this time it only hit 3, allowing us to pick up a KO and get our first badge. Next up we head over to help out Arven. You see these Herba Mystica he's looking for? Well, they're guarded by giant Titan Pokemon, which means we're in for one tough battle in order to obtain them. So first, here's this giant enemy crab. Its name is Cloth, and it's a pure rock type. Delibird being ice flying has a 4 times weakness to rock moves, which places us in a rather unfortunate position. One that it likes to remind us there is no escape from. After a few tries, we're unable to win, so we go TM hunting. Given that you can access about 90% of the map at the beginning, there's plenty to find, including Drill Run and Avalanche. Back in Cloth and just look at that damage. It gets us through phase 1 with relative ease, causing Cloth to retreat and power up. Now Arven joins in for a boss fight. Unfortunately, there's no way to do these solo, but as long as I'm only using a Delibird, then it's fair game. Despite the buff, it doesn't take much more effort to KO Cloth and get our first Herba Mystica along with the new ability, Dash. Next up is Gym 2, which requires us to play hide and seek with some Sunflora. Gracias, the gym leader here, makes a very dangerous looking entrance. Seriously dude, your legs should be powder if you're doing this for every challenger. Its first Pokemon, Petalil, is mildly dangerous in the fact that it has Sleep Powder, but the majority of the time it doesn't use it. Its Smoliv is an easy one-shot, but its Ace Sudowoodo, that's another story entirely. It has Sturdy, which makes it so that we can't one-shot it no matter what, and it will always retaliate with Rock Throw, or a guaranteed one-shot on us. So I needed a new plan. I went around and gathered a few items, as well as bred a few egg moves onto Boreas via the Mirror Herb. We equip a Focus Band and threw ourselves at the fight until we hit the 10% chance to survive, allowing us to use Ice Shard for our second badge. Up next is the Titan Bombardier. Since we're slower, we can safely go for Avalanche, which brings us to phase 2 quickly. Unfortunately this time we don't get a chance to heal, but by sheer dumb luck the Titan just kept attacking Arven, allowing us to easily pick it off for our second Herba Mystica and the Surf ability. We also learned why Arven wanted to do this to begin with. Poor guy has a heckin' sick pupper and just wants to help best he can. Up next is our first Team Star base, outside of which we meet Clive. Someone who appears to be a 50-year-old man masquerading as a teenager. The guards out front weren't exactly much of a challenge. No, the issue here is the invisible barrier that refuses entry without having free Pokemon. There is no way to avoid this. You're not even allowed to enter and then send the other Pokemon off into a corner because for some reason that doesn't count as using them. So we have no choice but to use a couple more Delibirds. All the battles in the Team Star section work the exact same way using this Let's Go mechanic, so it's up to you whether you count them as actual battles or not. Personally, since I have no control over the outcome, I see these as glorified cutscenes at best. 30 Pokemon later, and we meet Giacomo. Giacomo? Let's go with DJ Vice. Thanks to the Brick TM, we have no issue with his Pokemon. His car, on the other hand, is pretty intimidating. Even on level and with Life Orb, we're doing this little damage, leading to another loss. I tried a few different strategies, including stalling out leftovers, but after a decent amount of losses, I decided just to cut my losses and come back later. Over at the third gym town, we have a rival fight. The Rockruff is no problem at all. In fact, it was going relatively well up until I raced Crocodile. But thanks to a poorly timed paralysis from a poor me, we are outspared and one-shot. But to my surprise, we're not actually required to win in order to progress. Levencia's gym challenge involves a VTuber livestream of the hit game Where's Clavel, with a few battles mixed in here or there. Iono's team was the first one I was really worried about beforehand. The Watt roll goes down easily, but Bellibolt is a tanky beast. One that, if we hit, it will power up its next attack. Even at level 27, a single drill run is not enough to one-shot. I can, however, get through by using a combination of Avalanche and Ice Shard, but up third is Luxio, which weakens our damage output with Intimidate. While we still one-shot it, Erasmus Magius will outspeed us, and Ice Shard is barely doing a quarter of its health at this point. I really need to get here with more HP if I want to win, which means leveling up a bit. It took all the way to level 33 before I could reliably one-shot Bellibolt, but unfortunately we get hit by Confuse Ray. Add that onto Hustle and we have a very low chance to actually hit. After missing, we get hit by a Charge Beam taking us to critical health, but we manage to snap out of Confusion and get off a powered up Avalanche for the win. I take this opportunity to try Team Star again, and with the help of Nevermelt Ice, I'm finally able to beat him and gain access to some new TMs, but most importantly, Foul Play. We also officially meet Penny. Riding high on that victory, I head over to clear out Team Star's firebase. The gods still put up no challenge, so on to Mela, the leader of this camp. She opens with a Torkoal, which sets the sun. Oh dear. Yeah, this isn't happening right now, so rather than smack my head against an oddly tortoise-shaped wall, I opt to head over and attempt Titan Orthworm. Its ability makes our best option Drill Run unusable, but Brick Break is still doing respectable damage, and thanks to a well-timed miss we're able to take it out. Its powered up form fared equally as well, as such the Alaskan Bull Muppet is defeated. This sandwich is so good that it puts a spring back in Miraidon's step and heals Mabosstiff enough to let it bulk. My god, this storyline is so precious. Over in Cascaraf, I stopped off to pick up some more fitting clothes, and as a result I barely missed the gym leader. Luckily he forgot his wallet, so we're sent after him. After catching up with him, we're blocked by this rather angry gentleman here, who proceeds to slaughter us. It's okay, I'm sure Kofu doesn't need his money anyways. I take this opportunity to go around and grab some more TMs, items, rare candies, and read a few more moves onto Boreas. Freeze-dried shrimp, anybody? After returning the wallet to Kofu, he tasks us with an unusual challenge. Win an auction for him. Well, as we all know, Boreas has that hustle, so we snag it for a cool 35,000 Poke. Gym time! First try goes rather poorly due to the raging sandstorm, but with a little bit better luck we're able to get to his ace. Unfortunately it tanks our hit and one-shots us, but third time's the charm. Thanks to a well-timed miss, we have our 4th badge. With a water-type move in hand, I thought I'd give Mela another try, only to make a shocking discovery. Yeah, you just saw right. Drought just failed. I wasn't aware this could happen. Not that it means anything, since we're still getting absolutely decimated by our team. Even getting the focus sash isn't enough to help, sadly. Well, if one Team Star camp is too much, how about another? On the Tag Tree Thicket, Team Star's security has gotten significantly worse. I mean, they're relying on a kid to guard their base this time. Yosef here isn't much of a challenge. In fact, the only reason this fight has taken so long is the fact that Boreas didn't have the heart to attack him and missed 3 times in a row. After our standard Team Star welcome, we come face to face with Atticus, a poison type specialist who appears to be going through a Chinibu phase. He sends out a Skuntank which knows Sucker Punch, which means Focus Sash is off the table. We get through with about half of our health and come to Reveroom, which fortunately is severely allergic to drills. But sadly his muck ends our attempts every time. We'll come back later. For now, off to Medali. The gym challenge here has us figuring out a secret password in order to order at a local restaurant. Normally you'd have to scour the entire city looking for clues which you can combine into the password. But if you've played the game before, there's nothing stopping you from just inputting it immediately and skipping all that busy work. Tables inside turn into the arena. I guess all the customers that were there just got sent to the Shadow Realm or something. And we meet Larry, who, in all honesty, is a bit of a mood. Poor guy just looks like there's no life left in him. He starts the fight with a Komala with Sucker Punch, as such I'd brought my Focus Band, but in the most insulting loss I had this entire run, it doesn't even go for Sucker Punch. No, Boreas misses his Brick Break and gets slammed into the floor by this Apex Predator, and to add insult to injury, we survive on a few HP, only to be Sucker Punched so hard that we black out and wake up the Pokemon Center. Let this be a lesson. Do not mess with the koalas. We try again with Focus Sash this time and fare a lot better. But sadly we get hit by a Hyper Drill from his Dunsparce, meaning we will 100% fail at his ace. This happens a few times before I decide to grind. At level 42 we're able to get through to his ace untouched. Thanks to our Sash leaving us at 1 HP, Reversal is able to easily take out Staraptor, and our 5th badge is in hand. we're once again challenged by Nemona. Well, her Rockruff has now evolved into a major problem. Lycanroc here has Accelerock, which takes us down to our Sash. Add on her Pomo also having Quick Attack, and there is no way we can actually win here. That brings our track record versus Nemona to 0-4, but again, you don't need to win in order to progress. I'm honestly quite surprised at that. I don't see the game taking pity on us much longer though. I had doubled back to Mela, but it just still isn't happening. Who would have thought that I still couldn't take down Mela at level 43? Well, I guess bringing cars to a Pokemon battle does give you a massive advantage. The next gym in Montenevera is a Ghost-type gym, so I set Boreas up with Foul Play, and that's a problem. This gym will not let you challenge without 2 Pokemon. So I taught one of the other Delibirds Fling so they'd be unable to attack and began the opening act. Everything here was going fine until this battle. He has a Drifblim and a Sableye. Sableye's only weakness is Fairy type, something we do not have access to, and most of our attacks are doing very little to it. Add on top of that an Exploding Balloon, and this is a recipe for disaster. We need a strategy here. It's time for this bird to take flight. And fly he did. Right over that explosion and into Sableye at Mach 10 for a one-shot. With that we can finally challenge the gym leader Rhyme. She outright denies us the opportunity to face her in a rap battle. I mean, come on, everybody knows that Master Chief spits absolute fire on the mic. Just ask Leonidas. Rhyme here uses double battles too, meaning that we're in for quite a challenge. Her Mimikyu will absorb 1 hit, so I focused on her other mons for now. But unfortunately I'm unable to KO her Houndstone, resulting in a loss. Every attempt here ended the same way, so I decided to try the Ice Gym instead. The challenge here is the world's most disappointing ski course. It is over and done with in 40 seconds, letting us move on to Grushia. Our first attempt goes rather well, with us taking out his first 2 mons, but his Titan has Ice Shard, meaning that we need to get here with a lot more HP. So, ever heard of the definition of insanity? Well, that's me right now. I was so convinced that Grushia was possible that I spent 4 hours throwing myself at this fight. 90% of those fights ended at Beartick. I even used mints and bottle caps to optimize my damage, but it just wasn't happening. When I finally came to my senses, I left to attempt the 4th Titan. Iron Treads here was unusually easy. Boreas manages to eat a knockoff for half his health, then proceeds to chop Iron Treads right back to the future. Second phase went so quickly that it's not even worth going into detail over. With that we have our 4th Herba Mystica and the ability to glide. Stopping back at Mela, we're finally able to break through her Starmobile. With that roadblock over, I tried the Poison Camp again too, and thanks to Sucker Punch missing, I also clean up this camp. More importantly though, we get Gunk Shot. This is Delibird's only way of dealing with Fairy type Pokemon. It's not the most accurate, but it's all we've got. Given that 2/3 of the remaining gyms have been a problem, we set our sights on Alphanada and Psychic type gym. We're going to be relying heavily on Foul Play here, and given that most Psychic types have a higher special attack than physical, I'm not holding out too much hope. But first, the gym challenge. We have to participate in Emotional Spectrum practice. What is that, you ask? Well, it's a woefully long and boring game of Simon Says with battles mixed in to keep you awake. The only thing mildly amusing here is seeing how bored Boreas looks when he's meant to be surprised. Tulip goes about as well as expected, meaning I don't even manage to take out our first mon before getting one shot. Swapping out items and I'm able to pick up a KO on the second try, but thanks to Gunk Shot missing, we once again lose. Third try and we hit, letting us get to our 3rd mon, Espathra. I'm gonna be honest here, I thought for sure it would outspeed me, but no. 1 foul play is all we needed. Up last is Florgus, which is Terra Psychic. I made the mistake of assuming that Foul Play was my best option here and barely missed the KO, leading to a third loss. Fourth time around I opt to just use Drill Peck instead, which does enough to knock out Florgus and secure our 6th badge. With 6 badges we've unlocked more store items, but most importantly, bottle caps. So I bought some and maxed out the rest of our stats. Fun fact for those of you at home, Boreas here has had a 0 speed IV this entire time. It feels really good to finally fix that. Upon returning to challenge Rhyme once more, we're stopped by Nimona for another rival fight. I had expected this to happen over at the Psychic Gym, but it turns out this battle happens wherever the location of your 7th gym is. She leads once again with Lichen Rock, but to my surprise it didn't use Accelerock. This allowed me to KO her Puppa, Pawmot and Sliggoo with ease. Outlast is her Skeledirge. Our drill run is doing just over half and a Torch Song brings us down to our Focus Sash. But in a moment nobody saw coming, I managed to win my first rival fight. Even Nimona seems genuinely impressed. Round 2 versus Rhyme. We easily take out her Bayonet, but thanks to a miss, Houndstone removes itself from the field. We use this opportunity to break Mimikyu's disguise, and then both of Rhyme's mons target the dummy Delibird. While this takes it out, we target down Houndstone and take it out. Unfortunately though, we do get crit by Mimikyu, but we also get a damage boost from the crowd. This allows us to take out our ace easily. I wouldn't blame you if you missed it was even on the field due to watching the dancing doggo. Since Mimikyu is doing barely anything to us at this point, we're pretty much free to pick up the KO and the 7th badge. After the fight, we're introduced to Poppy. Don't let her cute exterior fool you. This is the trainer that I was the most worried about in this entire run. But that is a tale for later. For now, let's head back to Grucia's gym. Well, we managed to get through Titan, but Altaria is just too bulky. After a dozen or so attempts, I tried something a little bit more unorthodox. I equipped the Metronome. Metronome is an item that increases damage each time a move is used in succession. So from Beartech through Titan, we powered up our Brick Break, which gave us barely enough damage to Oko Altaria. With this, we have completed all of the gyms. But most importantly, we get Ice Spinner. Ice Spinner is the best ice move Boreas can get, and it has the additional effect of removing terrain, something that will be very important soon. Fairy Team Star base time. The guard out front this time is an old man. Between him and the kid, I'm starting to think that Team Star is a bit understaffed. A few battles later, and we're faced with Ortega, the fairy type specialist. Given that we're going to be relying on Gunk Shot here, this may take a while. Beyond the attempts lost to misses, it goes well up until his 3rd Mon. This purebred dog has access to Baby Doll Eyes, a priority move that lowers attack. This means that we need to come in with Clear Amulet, otherwise we will lose. A dozen or so attempts later and we're just not having luck. I needed to be able to more consistently get to the later parts of the battle, so I left to find some more TMs, and along the way I challenged the final Titan. Dondozo here is a big old damage sponge normally, however 2 Seed Bombs is all we really needed to move on to the next phase. During phase 2 we go into the red fairly quickly, but thanks to Arven lowering its defense and it only targeting Arven, we're able to take out the 5th Titan. Or not. Turns out we've been bamboozled, as the Tatsugiri that was in Dondozo's mouth was the actual Titan. Thankfully we're auto-healed between fights though, so it's relatively easy to take it out and get our final Herba Mystica. We get our good feel moment as Arven's Mebostiff makes a full recovery, and we get a call from the professor asking Arven to assist us in entering the lab we first met at. Putting that on the back burner for now, back at the fairy camp, we're faring slightly better. We managed to get to the Starmobile, and thanks to Ice Spinner destroying its terrain and causing its Steel Roller to miss, we get a 3 turns worth of damage. But unfortunately we're still unable to take out the Starmobile. I tried this for 3 hours straight and never got any further. Running out of options here, I go to try the final camp instead. Well, security here is certainly a step up. After all, they've got a professional wrestler at this camp. This is Eri, the boss of this camp, and she heads off to get ready as we battle a normal Team Star grunt. Man, what a lame bait and switch. Eri here starts off with Toxic Rope that knows Sucker Punch, but for some reason it just never used it. The whole team goes down rather easily actually, up until the Starmobile. We do about half of its HP and its defense gets boosted thanks to stamina. Then we survive on 35 HP through sheer dumb luck and manage to get the KO. All we have left now is the fairy camp. I grinded this out for several more hours. At one point, I started to get rather desperate. Boreas, if you get perfect luck on this run, I will give you a fish. Most of the team is going down easily by this point. The Starmobile once again wastes its turn, but a badly timed miss leads to us being confused. We miss once again, leading to us being taken to half health. When we finally hit Gunk Shot, we take the Starmobile to low health, but we take another hit, and survive on 4 HP. Managing to snap out of confusion, we're finally able to take out the fairy camp. We learn a bit more about Team Star's past and are informed that the voice guiding us this entire time was Team Star's boss, who now wants to have a showdown at the schoolyard at night. But first things first, I have a promise to fulfill. So I took Boreas to a nice restaurant where I got him a seafood platter, and on the way out we stopped in the sushi house for some sushi to go. At the school, we're stopped by Clive, who reveals that he is in fact Director Clavel. But you see, he had one other secret up his sleeve. Clavel reveals that he is in fact Big Boss. That would explain all the sneaking in disguises, to be honest. Thus a legendary showdown began. Master Chief and Boreas versus Big Boss and his highly trained team of covert operatives. Unfortunately, his lead Oranguru is tanky enough to survive a foul play and sets up Reflect, pretty much guaranteeing a loss if we didn't have Brick Break. Next up is Gyarados though, and his Intimidate brings our run to an end. We equip Clear Amulet and try again, but Oranguru just keeps putting us to sleep. I tried leveling up a bit with the assistance of sandwich-based Genocide, but even at level 65, our odds against Oranguru haven't changed. Let's go check in with Arvin. Upon entering the lab, the professor tasks us with coming to see him in the deepest reaches of Area Zero. But first, we're gonna need some help. Well, we do have a problem, and nobody else can help, so time to form the D-Team! First on the list is Arvin, who wants to battle us in order to make sure he's up to task. His team consists of all the Pokemon he's used during the Titan fights. Well, we're already off to a bad start given the damage Greedent is doing, but his second Pokemon, Garganical, is one of the tankiest mons in the game. It eats our Brick Break but misses Stone Edge, allowing us to proceed. Scovillain is one-shot easily, but not so much for Cloyster, which unfortunately knocks us out. Every other attempt I had at this ended at Garganical. Even at level 70 our odds haven't really changed much. Well, not wanting to overlevel too much and with no other options left, it's time for the Pokemon League. We're likely going to have to switch our strategies on the fly to get through this gauntlet, but before we can even begin, we have to sit through a brief interview. Rika is up first. Her Wish Cache is easy to take down, but next up is Donphan, which has Sturdy. Add on the fact that it can one-shot us and we're forced to use Focus Sash here. A few attempts later and we manage to get the Donphan with our Sash intact, but we miss our Ice Spinner. Luckily, it also misses Stone Edge, leaving both Pokemon to have an epic staring contest for a turn. Thankfully we're able to take it out, and with the biggest issue dealt with, we're able to one-shot Dugtrio, Camerupt, and even erase Clodsire. 1 down, 3 to go. But it's best not to celebrate just yet, as up next is the pint-sized Punisher who's here to bring the pain, Poppy. We once again have to go in with Focus Sash to deal with one of their Pokemon. The Copperajah went down easily, but up second is another sturdy Pokemon, Magnezone. One badly timed miss leads to our loss. Second try and we hit, bringing us to Bronzong, but thanks to Reversal we're easily able to KO it, bringing us to Corviknight. Sadly though, we miss and eat an Iron Head for another loss. All we need now is one good run. But Boreas picks now as a good time to tell us he has an irrational fear of elephants as he misses 7 times against Copperajah. Poppy's Pokemon proceeds to pummel poor Boreas into paste until he shakes off his spontaneous bout of pachydermophobia and gets the KO. Unfortunately though, Magnezone paralyzes us with Discharge, which makes us slower than Corviknight for another loss. Once we finally get a decent run, we get to our ace Tinkaton, but Reversal is enough to deplete his HP and give us our second win. Now that the Pipsqueak is over, next up is Larry. He's taken a page from our book and traded out his normal types for birds. However, given their weakness, Boreas can use Ice Spinner, channel his inner Beyblade and let it rip on all of Larry's Pokemon, allowing us to KO Tropius, Altaria, Staraptor, Oricorio, and even his Ace Flamigo all in one hit. Last up is Hassel, who specializes in Dragon Pokemon. I think you can see where this is going. My little spinning penguin drums defeat into each and every Pokemon Hassel sends out, KOing Noivern, Haxorus, Dragalge, Flapple, and even the mighty Baxcalibur. With that down, we are now done with the Elite Four and have gained the ability to challenge the top champion, but not before we're fully healed. The only thing that stands in our way now is Champion Geeta. She leads with Espathra, but one foul play is all we need here. Next up is King Gambit, but due to an unfortunate miss we get one shot. Twice. Well, third time and we're able to KO it with Brick Break. Her Go-Go and Veluza both go down with relative ease, but her Avalugg is able to eat our hit and leave us with too little HP to win thanks to Life Orb. This unfortunately never changes no matter how much I tried, so using some candies I leveled up to 75 where I was able to comfortably swap out Life Orb for Expert Belt. This time we're able to get through Avalugg with 31 HP remaining, leading to her ace Glimora. With that, we're now the Paldea champion. Well, one of them at least. Nimona is waiting outside for a champion-on-champion showdown. But first things first, I swung back to Big Boss and Arven again, and it still did not go well. Meeting up in Mesa Goza, we begin our final confrontation with Nimona. She leads with a level 65 Lycanroc, and her Accelerock takes us down to our Focus Sash. Thankfully Reversal knocks it out, but next up is Pawmot, and oh no. She still has access to the Accelerock Quick Attack combo. Yeah, the reality dawned on me pretty quickly. If I wanted a chance here, I needed to grind until Lycanroc either stopped using Accelerock, or does so little that we can actually pass through Pawmot. I tried this fight every level from 76 onwards, which led to me discovering that if you lose enough to Nimona, her usual opening stance will be replaced by a different one. Is it me, or is she starting to look really annoyed? At level 80 we managed to get Lycanroc to use something else, but it's very inconsistent. On the few attempts we do pass Lycanroc, we managed to KO Pawmot easily, but a third mon Orthworm is able to tank us and KO easily with Rock Blast. Back to leveling, I think. By level 85, Lycanroc has stopped using Accelerock completely, which lets us focus on attempting Orthworm. We're at a damage range at this point, but it missed Iron Tail, allowing us to move on to Dudun's boss. One unfortunate miss caused us to be taken down to low HP, which means that our Life Orb will finish us off. Well, with some better luck we made it past Dudun's boss to a Skeledirge. The first time we miss, leading to a loss. When we finally hit, we see that we do 90% and then get one shot. Since we cannot get here with full HP, Focus Sash won't help, so more levels it is. Level 88 and we're finally able to one-shot Skeledirge. Man, it does not feel good that I already have to be this over-leveled to win. But with that, Story 1 Victory Road is complete. Throughout all this leveling, I've been going back and attempting both Arven and Big Boss, but so far I've had no luck. With our new level, I try Arven again. Brick is now a one-shot on Greedent and Garganical. Scovillain was always pretty easy. Boister is finally a one-shot, and Toedscruel is no competition whatsoever. Which leads to his last Pokemon, Mabostiff. Intimidate lowers our attack, which means we only do 80%, leading to a Fire Fang knocking us out. Swapping out Life Orb for Clear Amulet, and we're barely not able to take out Garganical, but it misses its Stone Edge, allowing us to continue. Boister is now a range, and without the attack drop or HP loss, we're able to one-shot Mabostiff. With that, second story, Path of Legends, is complete. Time once again for our showdown with Big Boss. At this level, we're able to one-shot Oranguru with Ice Spinner, and thanks to Clear Amulet, Gyarados' Intimidate isn't an issue and we one-shot it as well. Out third is Houndoom, but one Brick Break is all we need. Fourth is Abomasnow, which sets the snow. This is both a blessing and a curse. We miss our next attack, and it goes for Aurora Veil. However, one Brick Break is all we need to break both the Veil and the Abomasnow. Out next is Poltegeist, but it's so frail that one Ice Spinner is enough. And out last is Meowscarada, the third starter that neither me nor Nimona took. However, Ice Spinner is just too powerful and gets the KO. With that, Clavel reveals that he is in fact not Big Boss, but he does have an idea who is. After waiting for night, we arrive in the schoolyard and are confronted by Penny. She reveals that she is in fact both Big Boss as well as Cassiopeia, the boss of Team Star. This begins our showdown. Up first is Umbreon, which barely survives a Brick Break, but its Dark Pulse is barely doing anything to us, so it's an easy KO. Her Flareon and Jolteon both go down in one hit. The fourth Pokemon is Vaporeon. It tries to put the moves on Boreas, but he's having none of it. Out fifth is Leafeon, who takes a page out of Vaporeon's book and attempts to seduce Boreas, but it ends the exact same way. Man, Boreas must have a steel will. Last up we have Sylveon. It attempts to upstage its siblings and seduce Boreas, but shrugging that off, Boreas uses Ice Spinner for the win. Maybe next time bring Pokemon that aren't quite as thirsty, Penny. After a heartwarming cutscene, we have finally finished our third story, Starfall Street. This begins The Way Home, the final story of Pokemon Violet. Meeting our team, consisting of ourselves, Arven, Nimona and Penny, we're urged by the professor to head downstairs and ride Miraidon down into the crater of Area Zero. Everybody but us gets on Miraidon before it begins to fall, and Arven barely catches our hand in time, dragging us along. Here in Area 0, we're tasked with unlocking 4 locks via research stations to assist the Professor. Station 1 has us fighting a Glimora. I'm gonna be honest, these battles don't take long since we always have assistance. Approaching Station 2 and oh sweet! Someone built the robot GF that Boreas always wanted! Wait, bad touch! Bad touch! After that ordeal, we learn Professor in fact has a time machine and is ripping Pokemon straight out of the future. Guess he's never heard of the butterfly effect. Station 3 has us rematching Iron Treads before Station 4 briefly turns into a creepypasta. Having unlocked all the stations, we head towards the lab, but we're jumped by Miraidon's evil twin and his band of ruffians. This should be a tense fight, but given that we once again have partners, it's really hard to lose. While the gang holds off the waves of future Pokemon, we go to talk to the Professor. But in a shockingly dark twist for a kids game, it turns out the Professor we've been talking to this entire game is actually a robot duplicate powered by AI, after the original Professor had died in an accident. Following him into the heart of the lab, he asks us to help disable the time machine that is now running rampant. The catch being that since he is part of the system, once we attempt to disable the machine, he will likely attack us. After some brief preparations, we begin the shutdown sequence, but the AI takes over and activates the time machine, leading to our final battle. The battle of present versus future, a battle of the timelines, if you will. The AI sends out Iron Moth, which is relatively frail. One drill run and we're done. Same story for Iron Forms. Iron Jugulus is up next, but One Eye Spinner is enough to KO. Iron Hands is up 4th, but thanks to its high HP and damage, this one's actually quite dangerous. After a fake out flinch, we're able to connect with a drill run and surprisingly we get the one shot. Up next is the AI's very own Roboreus. But all it has going for it is speed, so we once again prove that the original is superior. Outlast is Iron Valiant, which uses the booster energy to massively increase its attack. This could be relatively bad if we can't take it out in one hit. Yes, one hit is all it takes to show that in the battle of timelines, it's only the present that matters. With that, the time machine is disabled. Or is it? The security system has one last trick. It locks all Pokeballs unless they are registered to Professor Turo and then sends out the other Miraidon. We try to send out Boreas, but it just doesn't work. We have no way to fight and nowhere to run. Except Miraidon to the rescue. I'm gonna be honest here, this fight always plays out the exact same way. It's nothing more than a glorified cutscene, and in the end, Miraidon takes out his evil twin to secure the win. With that, the time machine is fully disabled, but it'll restart as long as AI Turo is here. So he goes off into the future to have his own adventures, but not before saying how proud he is of Arven. Upon leaving Area 0, we decide to take the long way home and officially beat Pokemon Violet with only a level 91 Delibird. Well, sort of. There was a need to bend the rules in a few areas, but without that the run would be impossible. But hey, at least we beat our 2 bonus objectives of not terrastilizing and winning under level 100. But we're not done there. As an added bonus, I decided I wanted to see if the post-game story was also possible. Our first task in the post-game is to go around and rematch all of the gym leaders. If I'm blunt, the sheer level advantage here makes the majority of these a cakewalk, so let's do this rapid fire. Brassius' team consists of Lilligant, Breloom, Serena, Arboliva and Sudowoodo. Given that we have Drill Peck, all but Sudowoodo goes down in one hit. It takes me down my Sash with Stone Edge, but it's already over at this point. Katie has Low Kicks, Forretress, Heracross, Spidops and Ursaring. The only one that's not one shot is Forretress due to its overall bulk, but Sash once again keeps us in the running. Larry has Oinkologne, Dudunsparce, Braviary, Kamala and Staraptor, but between Brick Break and Ice Spinner, none of them stood a chance. Rushia has Frostmoth, Beartic, Satitan, Weavile and Altaria. This would have been a clean sweep if not for a miss on Weavile. Kofu actually took a few attempts, mainly due to bad miss luck, but in the end, his Veluza, Pelipper, Clawitzer, Wugtrio and Crabominable all go down with ease. Next up is Tulip. Her team is Farigiraf, Gardevoir, Gallade, Espafra and Florges. It's a relatively close battle due to several misses, but we survive on 20 HP. Iono's Kilowattrel, Bellibolt, Luxray, Electrode and Miss Magius all stood no chance whatsoever. Last up is Rhyme. It's the only mildly interesting battle of the rematches. Unlike last time, we kinda need to focus Mimikyu ASAP because it deals way too much damage at this point. A badly timed miss leads to Bayonet using Phantom Force, which is actually kinda perfect, because it means we can now ignore it. One more fly later and we break Mimikyu's disguise, but we eat a play rough in return. With the disguise gone, Mimikyu falls easily. One foul play takes out Houndstone and another fly for Spiritomb. Then just one more foul play for Ace, and all we have left is to mop up Bayonet. We head back to the Academy, and with that the Academy Ace tournament is open. To win this, we need to fight 4 trainers in a row with no breaks. If you lose at trainer 4, it's all the way back to trainer 1. First up is Arven. He uses the exact same team as before, just higher leveled. Redount goes down in 1 brick break, but Garganical is currently a range. One that we unfortunately miss and get one shot. Trying again and we manage to hit that range. Scoville and Boreas end up having a staring contest before a swift KO. Cloyster and Toadscruel both faint in 1 hit. Mabostiff is up last. We're unable to one-shot, which means we must get through with pretty much full HP or we will be one-shot. Doesn't take long though until we get a decent run and get through Mabostiff. The second trainer is Jock, our homeroom teacher. He leads with Arcanine, meaning we're at -1 for the entire battle. Thankfully it's frail enough to be one-shot by Drill Run. Mudsdale is surprisingly still a one-shot at -1, but his third Pokemon Slowbro is a big problem. We do exactly half to it. In this case it's an idiot and uses Light Screen, but if it uses Flamethrower, then congratulations, attempt's over. Next up is Swalot, but a few badly timed misses leads to us being toxic and then hit with Fire Punch for the loss. When I finally do hit, we don't one-shot, which means we need to switch items for future attempts. The issue right now is that it's taking me on average 1.5 to 2 hours between attempts where I see Jock. The majority of the runs are ending earlier due to a miss. Eventually we make it past Swalot to Lunantis, and let's be blunt, even a small breeze could KO that in 1 hit. Which just leaves us with Farigiraf. Unfortunately I don't have the move space to bring Foul Play, so at best this is a 2-hit KO. But it also knows Thunderbolt, which can deal over half of our HP and paralyzes us. Luckily we managed to hit and we move on. Dendra is a fighting type expert. So all we really need to happen here is for Drill Peck to never miss. Shouldn't be hard, right? Well, first try I get her to our second one before we miss. Second time I get a glimmer of hope as Hawlucha doesn't one-shot us, but it lowers our speed so it may as well have. These attempts continued until the 9-hour mark, at which point I started looking for options that could make this easier. At Max Friendship you get a bunch of bonuses, most notably your opponent gets a 10% chance to miss and you gain a 20% chance to survive any hit with 1 HP, which still is not enough though. I tried using Ability Capsule to get rid of Hustle, but the damage fall-off was so fatal it caused us to lose to Arven every time. Even at level 100, still no dice. Back to Hustle it is. Around the 12-hour mark of attempts, I decided to use my last result plan. You see, some gym challenges can be repeated again for prizes, and it just so happens that by playing the knockout mode of Emotional Spectrum practice, you have a chance to get EV reducing berries. You can also find them on the ground in certain areas, or at the auction house, but I didn't have much luck with either. No, I spent hours of my life trapped playing Simon Says with Dendra until I got 26 tomato berries. Given that the berry you get is random, and you can get anywhere from 1 to 10, this took a while. With that though, I respec'd my speed into special attack and even picked up a new nature to show how serious we were. I replaced Ice Spinner and Drill Peck with Air Slash and Ice Beam respectively, giving us some moves that are unaffected by Hustle's accuracy decrease. Arven and Jack go down with relative ease. Dendra leads with Phalanx, but since accuracy is no longer an issue, one by one her Phalanx, Aqua Tauros, Holucha, Medicham, Blaze Tauros and even Hariyama all faint in one hit to Air Slash. After a whopping 13 hours of attempts, I have finally gotten to the last trainer, Geeta. She leads with Espathra at level 70. Our Ice Beam is a range, but we get good luck. Second is King Gambit, but one Brick Break swiftly defeats it. Go-Goat stands absolutely no chance against Ice Beam, and Veluza goes down to a critical Air Slash. Avalugg is up next, and I'm kinda worried since this was the biggest problem on Geeta's team last time. However, one Air Slash does enough to one-shot, so I guess there was no need to actually worry. Up last is Glimora. This is the last thing standing between Boreas and victory.
Please, Boreas. Please. Finally! Finally! I think I might have peaked my microphone. I was like 12 or 13 hours at this point. It's 4 AM in the morning.
With the thunderous applause of the crowd, our mission is complete. After a brief closing ceremony, Boreas and I go to celebrate with some sushi. Well, that was certainly a stressful run. Would I recommend it? Yeah, I'd recommend playing it as long as you don't attempt the post-game. It's really not worth it. I'm gonna be honest, I'm pretty sure that this run would have been possible at 95 and even without maxing friendship, but I do not have the time to throw myself at it until I get the 1 in a million RNG that I would need. But speaking of time, this entire run took 48 hours to complete. Over 1/3 of that time was just Ace tournament attempts. Bear in mind that most of those ended in less than 2 minutes, and even if they didn't, they ended at the 6-minute mark. That puts it in perspective, 13 hours of nothing but 2 to 3 minute attempts with the occasional 6-minute one mixed in. You do not want to go through that, trust me. But I digress. It was a fun run all around, but certainly burned me out on Pokemon for now, so it may be a while before I attempt anything else Pokemon related. But with that, thank you all for watching, and see you next run.